Medieval London did not feed itself from one charming market square. That image is too tidy. It makes the city look as if everyone walked to the same open space, bought the same goods, and went home through clean streets. A safer picture is messier and more interesting. Food moved through a network. Named streets, city gates, open markets, livestock yards, butchering places, shop fronts, carts, servants, porters, buyers, and rules that tried to keep trade visible.
This episode is a reconstruction, not actual footage. The sources give us strong anchors: Cheapside as a major shopping district and thoroughfare, Smithfield as a medieval livestock market, Bread Street as a place associated with bread, and street names such as Poultry and Milk Street that preserve traces of trade. What they do not give us is a perfect moving camera through one exact morning. So every scene here should be watched as a guided reconstruction. Evidence first, interpretation second, image third.
Start at Cheapside. The name itself points toward trade. In medieval London, Cheapside or Westcheap was not just a pretty background for processions and crosses. It was a major route through the city and a major commercial district. That matters because a road with shops is different from a market hidden in a separate building. A buyer, a servant, a porter, and a messenger could all move through the same street while goods were being displayed, argued over, carried away, or announced.
The visual mistake is to make the street too polished. A launch version of this episode should show variety. One frontage may look prosperous with better timber and a fuller stall. A few steps away, the surface should be worn, some stalls should be sparse. The street should carry baskets, mud, old plaster, patched wood, and people at different social levels. Medieval commerce was not a stage set where every stall was full and every house was charming.
Cheapside also helps explain why street names matter. Around this part of London, names such as Bread Street, Poultry, Milk Street, Ironmonger Lane, and Wood Street preserve a map of work. They do not prove that every inch of each street served one trade at every moment, but they do show a city where buying and making were legible in the street plan. A person who knew the city did not simply know addresses, they knew where certain kinds of work tended to gather.
Now move to meat. The meat system begins outside the neat shopping image. Smithfield became London's livestock market in the medieval period. Animals could arrive from outside the city, including from far beyond the immediate suburbs. That fact changes the scale of the story. Meat did not simply appear on a counter. It had to move as living animals first.
Imagine the edge of the city: handlers, animals, mud, rope, simple fencing, carts, and buyers negotiating in a place that is not trying to look elegant. The movement would have been slow by necessity. Handlers keeping animals together, buyers watching condition and weight, carts waiting at the edge of the crowd, and mud making every step heavier.
After sale, animals could move toward places such as Newgate Shambles or Eastcheap. The shambles were part of the urban food system, but they should not be romanticized. A butchering district means work, waste, smell, water, blood, tools, carts, and rules. The image should not become horror. It should become infrastructure. A city needs meat, and meat requires space that many polite histories prefer not to show.
That is the first major takeaway. Medieval London's food system had geography. Livestock belonged in one kind of place. Butchering belonged in another. Buying bread, poultry, milk, or prepared goods could lead the viewer through different streets. The street map becomes a map of appetite, labor, regulation, and class. If this kind of ordinary system is the history you want more of, subscribe after this scene. The point of the channel is to rebuild the worlds that made daily life possible.
Now look at Bread. Bread Street was not just a decorative medieval name. The historical record connects it to bread selling, and a 1302 order required bakers to sell bread in the open market. That is a small detail with a large meaning. Open selling made food visible. It made buying public. It gave officials and neighbors a way to see what was being sold, where, and by whom.
Do not turn that into a claim that medieval markets were fair, clean, or well-regulated all the time. Rules exist because problems exist. Weight, price, quality, location, crowding, and fraud were part of the world these rules tried to manage. A good scene should show that tension: bread in public, customers close to the stall, officials or watchful figures at the edge, and surfaces that look used rather than perfect.
Poultry and Milk Street offer the same kind of clue. The names pull the viewer away from one universal market and into a city of specialized expectations. One buyer may be looking for bread, another for birds, another for dairy. Another may be walking through the same space to reach a household, a workshop, a church, or a legal errand. The street is market, route, workplace, and information channel at once.
The social range matters. A wealthy household may not send its most important person to buy food directly. Servants and intermediaries matter. Ordinary workers may buy smaller amounts. Poor residents may face thinner choices and more risk from price changes. A street scene that shows only full baskets and cheerful abundance is not honest enough. The city fed people unevenly.
So the production plan should include contrast. Show one full stall, then one sparse stall. Show a richer shopfront, then a worn lane near service work. Show an overhead route from Smithfield to Newgate, then cut to a hand-scale object like a bread basket or a butcher's hook. Show a clean public edge and a damaged back edge. This avoids the false idea that the past was one polished theme park.
What made the system work was not beauty. It was repetition. People learned where things happened. Traders returned to known places. Rules tried to pull selling into public view. Gates and routes shaped movement. Street names taught expectations. The market was not one room. It was a pattern repeated through the city.
There is a limit to the reconstruction. We cannot know the exact sound of one morning. We cannot follow one cow from its origin to one table. We cannot make every street name into a complete economic map. Some evidence comes through later histories and place name memory. But the central claim is safe. Medieval London fed itself through a distributed urban system, and that system used streets as working surfaces.
Return to Cheapside with that in mind. The street is not just busy because medieval people liked markets. It is busy because food needs pathways. Bread needs public sale. Meat needs livestock space, slaughter space, and selling space. Milk and poultry need expected places. Buyers need memory. Officials need visibility. Poor people need access. Wealthy households need supply. Workers need routes. The city needs all of it at the same time. That is why a medieval market street was not just a place to shop. It was a piece of urban machinery.
In the next episode, the system moves from a crowded city to a desert port on the Red Sea, where almost everything needed to survive had to be carried in.
If this helped you see an ordinary street as a historical system, subscribe, like the video, and watch the next Ordinary World's History Reconstruction.